Oh, all right. That's about the smoothest intro that I've had going live here lately. Woo, buddy. That was absolutely the smoothest intro. Coffee Grind Live. We're here with Mr. Well, let's just start off with Coffee Grind Live, where we are talking with people that are on their grind, in their purpose, making it do what it do, baby. So I've got a new thing going on here. So Instagram, if y'all will follow me on the gram, you're only gonna get the kind of behind the scenes view. You'll be able to see me here. However, you want to make sure that you jump on over to the YouTube channel, which I'm going to pin in the comments. Boom, there it is. It's pinned. Y'all can pop on over there. Y'all can be a part of the conversation that we are having here with. Well, let me go ahead and introduce. I've met this gentleman back in high school. Known him for quite a while. I've seen him grow in his faith. I've seen him grow as a man. I've seen him grow as a wonderful human being. I've seen him do miraculous things in his life. He's one of those people that I don't know if he knows I'm gonna say this, but definitely I look up to because he's always pushing forward, always moving forward despite the adversity that might be coming at him at any given point in time. He is always pushing forward, bettering himself, bettering his family, and bettering those that are around him. So I like for y'all to go ahead and let's bring on to Coffee Grind, Mr. Courtney Ruffin. Courtney Ruffin. I gotta add you to the screen. There we go. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, my guy? I appreciate you having me on your show, man. This is a tremendous opportunity, man. I appreciate it.
Oh man, I appreciate you hitting me up and popping into the show. I'm gonna go ahead and share this feed on the Facebook. But no, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on. I know that we've been talking. We were chatting about this before the whole well, that shall not be named that happened in 2020. And I appreciate you coming in and hitting me up and wanting to be a guest on here and be able to chat and talk about some of the things that you got going on. So what's been going on, man? We are in 2023 and
Yeah,
big things popping on.
yeah,
What
man. Yeah, 2023, man. It's crazy that we here. We were expecting to be, flying in like the Jetsons by now, but we still putting them on the ground, feet and wheels. But yeah, man, just you know how it is, Chauncey. We go like you said, we go all the way back to high school, man, and growing from high school, being basketball teammates, classmates, and things like that. And then jumping out into corporate America, and a few times you and I were kind of in the same circle, trying to do the entrepreneurial thing. And I don't know about you, but it was in my blood, but wasn't necessarily in my spirit, so I wasn't moving the right way.
Right.
But since then, man, since 2019, June 14th, June 15th, one of those days, I got pushed out of the swing, good brother, and I decided not to get back on it. So that's where I'm at right now.
Got you. So now, for those that didn't see the kind of the thumbnail and give you the full intro. So now you are in life insurance and retirement, planning, as you could say. I don't know. Now I know when we get into those realms, we got to be very careful with. I no longer have to worry about compliance. Thank God. But I know that you still kind of do. So I know we got to be very careful with the words we use. So
right.
So I'm gonna let you tell the people what you do.
Well, I'm in financial services, man. So I help people with all kinds of things, man. Life insurance, debt elimination, retirement planning. Mostly in the supplement space. College funding. Whatever it is, business funding, whatever it is that you can do with money, pretty much that we have the opportunity to help people with it. So, it's a blessing to do what I do. I tell people all the time, man, I get paid to get people paid. And the only thing better than that is getting paid to save a life.
There you go. Exactly. So anything financial related is your guy. So let's talk a little bit. I'm always interested and I always want to start off with kind of the journey. So what got you in there? What got you into like the financial services field and kind of thinking about it?
Yeah, man. So I going back, gosh, it had to be in 2010. I don't know. I really don't know. Sean gonna kill me with Sean Drake. I don't know when I actually met Sean Drake, but I know going back to 2010 is when we were kind of dabbling into getting our licenses and joining a particular organization. And I was, man, it was the fees and the cost to take the course and the cost to take the test and the actual having to study and actually be concerning with selling stuff and making a commission and being tied to my salary that every other Friday check. I couldn't move, man. And so fast forward some long years, man. I'm fast forward all the way up to 2018.
Okay.
I met another brother down here while I was in Tampa who was who was in the insurance industry, and we were both of our sons were at football practice. They were on the same team, and he would come to practice. We sit at practice, and he would always be in his briefcase. I'm watching practice. I look over my shoulder, and he kind of just working. And I saw him leave one day, left in a Range Rover. So I'm curious. I said, "Brother, what you do for a living?" So he said, "I'm a fireman." I said, "Oh." And then he said, "But on my day off, I sell insurance." So I said, "Okay, cool, man. I mean, I love to learn some more." I almost got into the space once before, and I got I ended up going ahead and going forward with getting the license. They made it a little bit more easy, a little bit more seamless. Fast forward 18 years later, everything is more easier now. You can do stuff online. People are offering discounts all over the place for the course and everything. So I got in, and I was selling final expense, just burial policies at first. And then, met some good brothers on Facebook, just through a sports connection. And I'll cut it a little short here. I met a gentleman by the name of Darnell Moat. You probably saw me post about him last night or the night before. Darnell said, "Hey, man, you're doing a great job in what you're doing. I can tell, you got what it takes. But you need to get out of that final expense space. You need to come over here and offer a little bit more to people because you got that on you." And I'm like, "Well, I'm just getting the hang of the final expense thing, man. I don't really want to move right now. That was me again, just kind of getting in my own way."
Right.
And instead of recruiting me further, you know what Darnell said to me?
What's that?
He said, "I'll see you in 6 months."
Okay.
And I tell you no lie, about 6 months later, I called up on Darnell because that's about around that time. But about 6 months later, I got kicked off my job. I got fired from my job. And my wife gave me her blessing, and God was covering over. He spoke to it and said, "Hey, baby, can I go full time with this thing? I don't want to go back to anybody's job." And she gave me her blessings, and I called up on Darnell, man, and I ended up in a part of this great brokerage behind me, man, American Classic. So
awesome. So yeah, so it took a little bit of time, and for it to. I mean, I know, like you said, I know we dabbled. As Tony Baker would say on Instagram, we dabbled in it a little a little bit here and there, and then like you said, things were definitely different then, and then so you popped back, the opportunity came back at it. So so that's yeah, and I always thought you would definitely do great in that space and definitely do great entrepreneurship wise. So what so I know that that's something that that you thought about entrepreneurship. So I'm thinking I'm like there's multiple different ways we can go, but what tell us a little bit about that going full time. Let's just go there with it. That going full time. Let's talk about that because I've been up and down that road before. It's not
yeah,
easy in my opinion, but
it's very difficult, man. It's much more difficult when you have people that you got to feed.
Yep.
You got people that. Okay, yeah. So it's difficult, man, when you got people you got to feed, and you got a spouse, and you got goals and aspirations and things like that on your own. It's difficult, man. I probably would have done it a lot sooner if it was just me, but it's not an easy thing, man. But what I realized is, and on this journey is one, I'm a believer. So, what's happened over the course of the time since I've been in it, man, is God has just made a way in the times where it's been extremely difficult and we didn't know how. But what I'm also learning, man, and I'm still learning it, even being, very close to 4 years as an entrepreneur, man, is that I'm still learning how to get out of my own way. I'm still learning how to get over me. And I don't mean get over me by aspect of being arrogant or overconfident. It's I have a new idea. I have a new thing that I want to say. On social media, there's a particular group of people that I want to reach out to, and I'm still kind of apprehensive about doing it. What are they going to say? What if they say no? How is that going to deter me from moving forward? But every time I get a roadblock, every time I get the word no, every time somebody, ignores me or whatever it is, I feel myself getting stronger. I feel myself getting more confident in, being able to move forward in this journey and take things to a different level, man. So I think I haven't mastered it. I'm still listening to some mentors. I'm still keeping people over me and around me who are kind of showing me a different direction, a different way to do things. But I'm humbled, man. I'm blessed. And it's just a tremendous experience. It's not something that everybody can do. It's not something that everybody should do. And that's not a knock on anybody who wants to work a 9 to 5, anything like that, because you got to know your lane. You got to know your space. Working a 9 to 5 was never for me. And at first, I got into entrepreneurship and it's like, I don't know if this is for me either.
Right. It'll do that to you.
It'll do that to you, man. But, God is good. I appreciate my wife and my great children for, just supporting me, because without them, I definitely would have probably gone back to work by now.
Gotcha. So let's dive in a little bit more if we can, and let's talk about go a little bit deeper about the getting out of your own way. So what are some because I know some challenges, and and it's definitely some stuff that I talk about on my page, but just talk a little bit about, share a little bit about it if you can, like, if you will, a little bit about getting out of your own way, some of the challenges.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So it's so the first realization is you got to realize is that you're not doing this by yourself. Okay, realize that in the entrepreneurial space, in order to be successful in this thing, you should build a team. You should have a team, starting with who's in your home. Get some mentors, get some people around you that can help you build this thing out tremendously. And, even with that, even with having that, there's always been this thing about, overselling myself, or being in this position where feeling like that I'm oversaturating my message, right? I'm saturating my message out there. It's too much. But then you come to the realization, man, that, you have something that you have to share. There's people who you have knowledge and information that people really and truly need. And you're not just out here selling things, you're coaching things, you're teaching things that people really need, and you're really helping be a service. So, at the end of the day, man, you really have to, be grounded. You have to keep yourself educated. You have to make sure that you have daily tasks and keep your schedule. And one of the things that's really something that can kind of really knock you out of this space, man, is just hearing no, or having people ignore you, or not really, feel like you're getting the support that you've worked hard to obtain in some instances. But, you really got to understand that one of my mentors in this sales space actually said, you got to get to the no's. You got to get through all the no's so you can get to that yes, right? It's like, being out in the wilderness, and that if you go from one side of this, this forest or these woods, that on the other side is something sweet. It's a strawberry field or something like that, right? But you can't get to that strawberry field without going through these woods. So you got to continue to walk. You got to continue to, go around or over that pond or swim through it or, evade that dangerous animal or whatever it is, whatever kind of analogy you want to use, man. But in the space of going after any goal you have, anything that is worth having, anything that is something that you desire, is 9 times out of 10, it's going to have some obstacles in front of you. And a lot of times those obstacles are yourself. So you got to surround yourself with great people. You got to surround yourself with resources. Get a book. I'm not a huge reader. I do the Audible thing a lot.
Yeah,
I got some books back here that I need to be reading. I haven't taken the time to yet, but get some stuff, get some things, get a process, get a team around you, get a whole force around you that's going to just carry you through. And when you find yourself doubting yourself, find something that is going to push you forward. I started reading this book called the 12-week year. Right. I haven't gotten far enough into it, but it's a book that teaches you how to accomplish your yearly goals in 12 weeks. Right. So at the very beginning of the book, it tells you that when you have a fear of something, it is your brain's natural reaction to protect you from something you don't know.
Yep.
Right. And in order to defeat that, you have to condition yourself and train yourself to make your brain's reaction to be something that's more curious and foresee an opportunity to achieve something versus saying, oh, I'm afraid of that. Right. And that doesn't mean you go out and start wrestling alligators. You got to be, you got to understand what we're talking about. Keep everything within reason. Right. We're talking about becoming an entrepreneur, maybe, or making an investment or asking for a promotion at your job. Right. Instead of worrying about what your boss is going to say, start conditioning yourself to say, hey, what if he does say yes or she says yes? These are the things that I'm going to be able to do with that promotion.
Gotcha. Awesome. So there's a lot of things that you you hit us with a lot. There's a lot of good things in there. I don't know if you realize all of what you hit us with, but so there's so putting together a process, which I think is very important. Obviously, making sure that you got a process set in place, ready to go. Also you talked about having, that support system around you. Very important. Um, you talked about the constantly learning, and then also the kind of the leaning into the fear type of situation. So I just had to recap because you hit us with like four, or it was more than four. Well, you hit us with bomb, 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 and I was like, wait a minute now, let's make sure let's make sure that everybody's getting it. That's good stuff, man. That's really good stuff. Um, trying to figure out if I want to go down that road or I got a different road I want to go down to. So you've been full time at this since 2018. This is what
2019.
2018, excuse me. And so a lot of times people say, it takes like 3 to 5 years, for you kind of got to stick it out for those 3 to 5 years to be able to, kind of really just go over that hump. What I mean, would you say that that's something that you've noticed? You see that too, or what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. So they give us these statistics all the time in the industry. I mean, man, people usually only make it the first 3 years.
Right.
It's a very competitive space. Yeah, it's a very competitive space. And then it's commission based. Sometimes if the business doesn't stay around too long, they can take that commission back from you. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? You know about that. So it's definitely something. Yeah, it's definitely something that you got to be consistent in. It's something that you have to have a passion for. I wouldn't invite anybody to get into the arena that I'm in, or I wouldn't invite anybody to get into the arena of entrepreneurship, period, in regards to things, if it involves things that you're not passionate about.
Yes.
You've got to be willing to say, I'm going to get up every morning and I'm going to do this thing for me. You know what I mean? I'm not doing it, and I'm going to do it for my family. I'm not doing it for the money.
Yep.
I'm not doing it because this person I know over here is making a whole lot of money in it. You've got to have a passion for it. And to be honest with you, I didn't even really know I had a passion for what I did. I got into it because I know Sean, and Sean has been successful. And I saw the brother sitting out there driving his Range Rover off the lot. And those are the kind of reasons why I got really curious about it. But when I got into the industry, man, and I started to learn about what it's about and what it does, and I started learning the history of life insurance and how it's impacted my people, and I start realizing about the men in my family who died too soon and didn't have life insurance, and all of them were entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
very good at what they did. Both of my grandfathers and my uncle, who was a father to me, not like a father, that was my dad,
Yeah.
passed away when he was in his early 40s, and he had his own business, two of them.
Wow.
In the seafood industry. So he was headed he was headed in a very powerful space to make, and he passed away in his 40s with not a lot of insurance to carry on what he was doing, man. So when I started to realize that that was my calling, to get out here and help not only carry on those men's legacies, right, but to also help other people and their families make sure that they're protected in every way. So and learning more about this, man, the whole conversation is more about you living than you dying with this stuff, man. But I know we ain't got there yet, or if we going there, but I got to put that out there because it ain't all about dying.
Right.
Most of it's not.
Right. And just real quick, because I've got somebody on, I got a row on Instagram asking. So that was the 12-week year that you said you're starting to read, right?
Yeah, the 12-week year. Do I have it up here? Gosh, I
12-week
think it's
year.
downstairs in my bedroom, but it's called the 12-week year. Yep.
Got it. Popped it up on the screen, but yeah, bro, it is the 12-week year. So, but I think you hit the nail on the head with that as far as when you're an entrepreneur, that's something that you've got to 100% believe in it, what you're doing. You've got to 100% have a passion for it. I think that's very important. But yeah, I mean, and we could definitely go into, let me see, we got a comment here. Oh, Green. Hey, good stuff, fellas. Hey, Otis, thank you. Hey, appreciate you being here, brother. Appreciate you popping by. Um, but yeah, so having a passion, actually, going, and enjoying what you do, and knowing that you're making a difference, very important. Let's go ahead. Yeah, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about let's go into the, kind of the financial services side as much as as much as, again, I know this
Yeah,
space. I've
yeah,
been in this space before. I know that there's, we can't go too far
yeah,
down compliance, and we're not going to give away the farm because want to make sure that if people want to hear more, these are the spots that you can. Oh, I thought I had it. I thought I had it. These are the spots where you can link up with Courtney Ruffin right here down at the bottom of your screen. But yeah, so let's talk about, because you said something that I think is it's very important. You said that so your uncle, was it here in Jacksonville that he was seafood? See, so
yeah.
so
Right. So he
for
was actually down there in Mayport, Florida. So
Mayport.
in the mecca of seafood.
Right, I'm about to say. So for those of y'all that don't know, it's a big deal here in Jackson, especially in Mayport. I mean, because it goes out to all different places of the world. But just even if you got a strong presence in just Jacksonville, Mayport area, people, and you're known, people are going to come to you because that's just them the blue crabs, and crab legs, all that kind of, and just all types of fish. People are going to come to you. Not me, because I'll die. I'm allergic to shellfish. But hey, everybody else will. everybody else will come to you. So, but I think what you said is very important, though. So he had that. It's up on the rise. Uh, bless him. Unfortunately, passed away, and didn't have enough to continue that. So, because one of my things is, um, well, I'll talk about it. But even though that business hasn't launched yet, but one of my biggest things is legacy. So creating a legacy. Purpose is, everybody knows me for purpose. They're gonna very soon know me about legacy, and those two together. But spoiler warning. But legacy is important, and if you don't have enough going as just pre-planning, that can mess you up. So talk a little bit about that. I know I did a long-winded intro to talk about that, but I think that's important though to be able to continue on what you started.
Yeah. So we can go deep with this, Chauncey. And I know we have a very diverse audience, right?
Right.
But I do the majority of my business from an African American aspect, right?
Right.
There's a lot of things that we've been through in this country as it pertains to hardships and injustices and things like that in many different capacities, right?
Yep.
This stuff kind of goes all the way back to slavery, to be honest with you, and bringing it forward without getting in too much into that. Bringing it forward, I tell the people all the time: if you just sit back and realize what your people have been through, and that could be any people, that could be any people, it could be any color, it could be any race, any ethnicity. Just think about what your people have been through to get you to a position of where you are, whether or not you're super successful, super well off, or not, right? Somebody had to sacrifice to get you to the well off spaces, or somebody been through a lot to not allow you to be in that great space, right? So with that being said, you have an inherent duty to create yourself a legacy, right? Think about all the things where you want to be if you're not there yet, right? And then think about your children. Your children are going to have that same vision and that same passion one day. One of the things that motivates me, man, is that I have 3 adult children, about to be 4 in a few months. Like, he already 18, he graduates next month, right? Who I haven't put in the position of easy living, right? They've had to work just as hard and go to school and do all these things because I figured out too late, well, not too late, but late, what my purpose was. Now, had I figured this out a little bit earlier, I could have put them in a better position than they are right now.
Gotcha.
The mistake I don't want to make is be saying the same thing to you in 10 years.
Right. And I know
because
you won't,
10 years, right, 10 years, they'll be in a better space. They'll probably have children and things like that. We can't have this same conversation.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why my business name is Living Legacy Financial, because when people hear legacy, they hear death. They hear what's going to happen. What am I leaving behind when I'm not here? No, we're talking about what are you doing while you're here, right? What do you go to work for every day? Right. You go to work every day just to take care of you, right? What about your future self? Your children in the future, your grandchildren in the future, right? What are you doing, right? So financially, it's very important for us to understand that we got to put ourselves in a position, right, to beat the things that are adverse to our money, right? And the things that are adverse to our money is us getting sick, taxes, and inflation. Those are the top 3 things that are at risk to you, to me, to everybody. So we got to have things that can help us mitigate those things. And that's simply what I do, man. Without diving into all the products, man, I help to make sure the first thing that I do for people is I say, hey, let's protect you in the event that you die tomorrow, right? You got all these things that you've worked so hard for. Spouses, your children get left behind without you. How are they going to take care of all of these things, right? When you're not here. So let's take care of that first. And I'll spend an hour and a half with a client. We may spend 10 minutes talk about dying. So after we get that out of the way, now let's talk about how we're going to make your money work for you while you're still here. Do you want to retire early? Do you want to get into real estate? Do you want to start a business? Do you want to have college funding set up for your children? Those are kind of things that, that I help people do. But at the end of the day, the most important thing for me is that making sure that when it's all said and done, when it's time for you to stop working, and when it's time for you to check out for the final time, that you have left a tremendous legacy. You've lived a great life, right? And when you leave out of here, you have left a great legacy behind. Me and my wife have this joke. It's a joke, but it's dead serious, that we want to be able to live a legacy like you see in the movies when it's the portrait of mama and papa in everybody's house. It's like a cartoon portrait. You know what I mean? And that's the, hey, they the reason why we got all of this.
Right.
And that's the kind of thing that we aiming for, man. I just want to show everybody how to do it. A lot of people think it's difficult. A lot of people, we don't spend enough time talking about money. And I don't want to have everybody in the space where they are fearful of having a conversation about it. Not a lot of people talk about dying. That's what I like to talk about dying. That's why I don't introduce myself as a life insurance agent all the time. You know, because when people hear that, they say they hear death. You know, so I want to tell people that the word is life insurance. And you know, in the financial service industries, with the licensing that we have the ability to help people in different capacities. So that's what I do, man. That's the passion, that's the vision behind it, man. Is that I use the life story and the sacrifices of the men that came before me to, you know, set a precedence for helping other people to understand. Hey, let's take an hour and a half and get your stuff together. And once you got it together, you don't really have to worry about it anymore. Right. And that's the kind of thing we do. That's the passion. That's the vision.
Perfect. And I think, you know, obviously that's something that's super important, something that we don't talk about enough. Isn't really talked about enough, but needs to be talked about a little more. Because, you know, at the end of the day, you can spend a tremendous amount of time, you know, building up something. If you had nothing to protect it, nothing to ensure that it continues on, you know what? Yeah, it was. Are you? You know, are you building it for one generation? You know, yours? Like what do we really? You know, that's the thing with me is with the legacy portion. If we talk about that for a little bit, it's like it goes beyond you, your next generation, the generation after that. It needs to go on for multiple generations. So I know that's probably,
Absolutely.
you know, conversations that you have. And to your point, you know, that that picture on the wall that you talk about, you know,
Yeah.
that's something that I don't think we talk about enough. And that it needs to be discussed. So yeah, if you could chime in, and I know that's something that you
Yeah.
that
So the important thing, man, that you said that hit home right there is that it being more than just one generation behind you, right? There's this concept that's called infinite estate planning, right? And there's other names for it, but I like to use the concept of infinite estate, right? So right now, people, if you even get to the point of setting up an estate plan, which everybody should consider, like setting up an estate plan that just, you know, once you do transition, and estate planning can do a lot more for you while you're still alive too. We're not going to go too deep, because I'm not an attorney, and everything I'm giving here, by the way, is not financial advice. Just giving you some, you know, thoughts and opinions. You know, consult an attorney, a tax preparer, setting them an appointment with me offline, and we can have a deeper conversation. But
there you go.
so
Disclaimer
right, disclaimer's out, right? So at the end of the day, the concept of, you know, setting up an estate plan, man, is just to say, hey, I want to protect certain things from certain situations and make sure these people get this and this happens with this, that, and the third in the event that I can't say something that should happen, right? So imagine the concept of saying that I can continuously do this while years after I'm not here, right? So people worry about things like this. These are the things that I hear. I don't want to create trust fund babies.
Yep.
I don't want to leave behind a bunch of money and people use it up and spend it all and then it's poof, it's gone, right? So literally this is what the estate plan is for, right? So you can set up your estate plan to, you know, distribute money at a certain period of time for a certain accomplishment that the child has made and give them a certain amount. They don't have to get it all, right? But here's one of the favorite things that I've learned in the last few years being in this industry. There are families who will set up an estate plan, and the minimum requirement of the estate plan is, in order for you to get money out of it, you have to have a whole life insurance policy that's paid off, and it's payable to the estate plan when you die.
Yep.
So think about that. If you get access to $200,000 in an estate plan, like your family, you're one of 5 kids, million, and you get $200,000 each. In order to access that $200,000, you'll have to have a whole life insurance policy that's paid up or paid off. And this is not something that's required of an estate plan. This is just a stipulation that certain people make, right? You have to have a whole life insurance policy that's paid to the trust plan or the estate plan for $250,000.
Yep.
So imagine that every child, grandchild, great grandchild, and so on and so on and so forth have to follow that same guideline.
Brilliant.
The estate never goes broke.
Yeah, it continues on in perpetuity. It's just forever there.
Forever and ever, man. So these are the kind of things that, we work with attorneys that, help us set up these kind of things with people. But these are just the kind of things that when you start talking about generation after generation after generation, man, that we try to do and help people understand that, we don't want to really have a conversation about you dying. We want to have a conversation about you living. And then when it is your time, you can have the peace of mind that the people that came behind you are going to have it great.
Right. And they're always taken care of. And like you said, you're taking care of it generationally forever, essentially forever. It's always going to be there. So we got a comment here. Oh, Green. He says, life insurance is very important. We need to be more forward thinking enough to not only leave a nest egg for our loved ones, but also not leave them with the financial burden of burying us. So true.
Very true.
And also make sure that GoFundMe is not a death strategy.
It's definitely not a death strategy. Shout out to my cousin there, Otis Green. Appreciate you, man. He's supported my business. So I definitely appreciate him. He's well versed, and he's not just talking the talk, he's actually walking it. So, but it's definitely, man, it's like you said, it's just something that you could just take care of in a few minutes. It doesn't cost you a whole lot of money. Everybody has a different budget, but it can be very cost effective for you. But again, we love to have the whole conversation of, and when it comes down to financial literacy and financial services, there's so many things that are right there in front of us that we can do to fix our financial present and our financial future, that we just got to really sit down and have a conversation with a professional and really get that kind of stuff knocked out.
Yeah, and there's so many quick, easy, and sometimes it's not easy, but simple things that you could do. That it's not this big grandiose thing. It doesn't have to be that. It could just be little pieces here and there, and boom, you kind of set it, forget it, it's done, and it's over with. And there's so many things, and these are conversations that need to happen, because there's so many things that it's just because there's so many avenues, so many ways you can go. It's completely customizable, tailored, and everybody can get different things that that works for them.
Right.
Because I know that you've helped. I've sent multiple people to you. When you were doing, I don't know if you're still doing the medical insurance, but I think that kind of it went down, and a lot of things changed in that. But to that point, so you've helped, and you helped me out, helped a lot of people in my family out, the people that I sent your way, and it's just like, I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go, it's got to go crazy, but not tailored, custom tailored, and fit it into what works for you at that given point in time. And that's something that I think is very important. It's something that you do very well, is you look at the needs of the person and you tailor it toward.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And at the end of the day, you need to have somebody who is going to sit down and do a needs analysis with you, right? A financial needs analysis. What fits your specific situation, right? Just to give you an example, I had an individual call me one day and tell me that she was interested in the concept of infinite banking, right? Which is just the idea of, having control over your own funds and, putting your money in a certain place where it's going to grow differently than it would if you had it somewhere else, right? And you kind of have control over that, accessing it a little bit more easier if you put it into other financial instruments without some of the restrictions, right? So at the end of the day, after doing a financial needs analysis, I'm like, looking her situation with how much her money she makes and looking at her expenses and how many children she had. I said, ma'am, doing infinite banking right now, just you don't have the disposable income to do it. You know, you don't have right now what to do it. So we need to cut some costs here, pay off some debt there, you know, do some things, you know, a little bit differently before we can get you into this thing. Because what's going to happen is if you eventually get this product, you're going to turn around and cancel it because you're not going to be able to sustain this over a course of period of time. So let's just get you some basic insurance right now, you know, something that we see that fits in your budget right here. And then we'll come back to the calling a little bit later on. So sometimes, you know, when I sit down with people, you know, I have to tell them, like, you know, either this is not the fit for you, or the things that you have going on right now are great. I can't do anything to make it better for you or make it competitive for you. You're in a great situation. Definitely appreciate you giving me your time. And that's sometimes what you have to do in this space is, you know, not sometimes, all the time. You got to be honest with people. I have a fiduciary responsibility to let people know the truth and not just try to force fit them in the stuff that I offer.
Right. And so, yeah, I mean, and that's a big one there. You got anybody in financial services talking to you and they don't talk about a fiduciary responsibility, you need to leave. You need to shut that conversation down immediately.
Right.
If those words at some point in time is not coming out of their mouth, I would suggest, and I'm no longer in the financial services game. So I had to throw the disclaimers out there. Get the hell out. Get the hell out as you can.
Yeah,
because
man.
they ain't your best interest.
Yeah, if we carry these licenses and these certifications, man, we got to be responsible for people's money, man. And at the end of the day, we should be, you know, keeping record of what we do for people and with people, and not giving them the advice of something that's going to shade another product or another business. We should say, hey, here are the pros and cons if you know, choose this product or if you choose that product, and you know, give the advice, hey, I'm not necessarily sure this is a good fit, or ask the questions, hey, what's your investment strategy or your investment style? What are you comfortable with? Are you more aggressive? Are you conservative? Are you moderate? What is your fit for, you know, investing your money and growing your money? What are you comfortable with? You know, some people will tell me, you know, they're really, really aggressive, right? I don't offer any aggressive type of financial strategies. I'm not licensed or certified to manage people's money in that capacity. So I'll have to tell them, hey, look, if you're looking for something that works that way for your money, those are not services that I offer, but I do know some people, and I'll send a referral really quick, and just work with the people who fit in my wheelhouse.
Yep. And I think that's a huge thing, is saying, you know, obviously it's, as you said, it's making sure that, obviously, you would think not everybody does it. I've seen some people not do it before, but, you know, making sure that, you know, you're doing an assessment for them. Obviously, you're staying honest, because I know that's the type of heart that you have, and that's, you know, the character that you have. But also, you know, and I think across the board, even if it's just in any type of entrepreneurship game, if it doesn't work with you, then it doesn't work with you. Feel free to refer it on to somebody else and keep those, you know, those lines of communication over. I mean, that's so very important.
Absolutely.
And that's how you win in the long run. So I know we're running close to, you know, time. I like PD, you know, 30, 45 minutes. And we can sit here and talk especially about financial services. I can sit here and talk all day, and we can go down deep into it. And then we can talk all day probably about basketball coaching. We can go into all the things. So I have to have you back on at a later time. But I just want to get your ideas of what would you say somebody is trying to get into, let's say, financial services. If they were looking to get into that world, what pieces of advice would you give?
Well, yeah, that's a good question, man. So, you know, I would say, you definitely need to link up with the right people. Some people who say, well, you know, I can't sell things. I'm not a salesperson. Well, you know, with the people that I work with, American Classic, our you know, trainers and our executives and our mentors in this business, we don't sell anything either. You know, we actually, at the end of the day, we do have to sell a product, but we're talking to people we teach. and we coach. You know me, I'm a coach. So I found out, even that's the other thing when you start talking about getting out of your own way, I didn't realize in 2010 that learning what I could learn in this industry and working with people is just essentially me coaching them.
Yep.
Right? Me showing them different ways to do different things, giving them some advice on how to do X, Y, Z, and it's up to them to execute. As a coach, we can only show, we can only demonstrate, right? But it's up to the people to execute, based on what the coaches coach, right? So, so I would tell to make sure that you have a great team of people who get down in the mud with you and do the work. Get yourself some resources, to read and just be a service. Just get out here and want to be a service to people. There's so many things you'll be surprised about, the things that you'll learn about money and about things that money can do. Decide whether or not it's something that you want to do full time or part time. Because you can do this part time, you can get into this business and succeed at it and make a good living in doing it. Part time or supplement some income doing it part time. And I'd be amiss if I don't plug the company behind me, because this company saved my financial services career. I wouldn't have made it just selling burial policies. I just wouldn't have made it. There are plenty of people who do, and I'm not knocking it, but it just wasn't my wheelhouse. I had a broader scope as far as my audience is concerned, and they needed more. They needed more products than just burial. I had more people coming to me and saying, "Hey, I need more." So this company behind me, American Classic, is aclassic.com. You can join, this agency, and I'm telling you, the way these people do it, our executives, they train with us on Wednesday night. They train with us on Saturday morning, on Thursday morning. I'm talking about the president of the company, the chief marketing officer. They run some of the trainings. So it's not like they just get some of their top agents and have their agents do the training. No, the people who are actually at the top of this thing get down in the mud with us and teach us, man. So, just get around people who can support you. It doesn't have to be American Classic, right? I would love for it to be, but just get around people who are going to support you, who are going to match the things that this business can do with your goals, right? Your business goals, your financial goals, and your personal goals need to marry up with whatever business that you get into, or whatever you're doing on your job as a career. Try to marry what your path forward to the things that you desire personally for yourself and your family, man. So, but getting into financial services, hey, if you can read a PowerPoint presentation and you can learn, you can pass an exam, and you can follow the rules and not break the rules, you can have a pretty good career in this.
Yep. So a couple things. So I just want to retouch before we kind of close this out, because you said at the beginning, you followed it back at the end. Having that group of people around you is so very important. Not just within the business and outside of the business too. Having people that are going to support you, that's going to help. You got people that's going to guide you, people that's going to support you, and people that are that always have your best interests at heart. So very important. Also, I like to touch upon, to your point, sales is coaching, and I also like to say sales is teaching. It's really you're teaching about what a product or service you have, and if you do that well enough, people are going to make their own decision, because you can't force anybody into any decision. You're just going to teach them, tell them all the features, advantages, benefits that you have with and teach you. And at the end of the day, they should leave more educated, in my opinion, than when they when they before they came to you. So, but yeah, I just wanted to I mean, those were some key points that I think you hit upon, and especially the coaching part. That's some key points.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Just the team is important, man. I got people, my wife obviously in this is a part of my team. Mr. Darnell Moat, I wouldn't be in the position I am without him. And then, people who they're millionaires, in this business, who are part of my mentorship. And then I have people that I talk to who aren't even in the same industry as me, who give me, advice on things that I need to do. Shout out to my guy, AC Williams. Shout out to you, Chauncey, for the advice and the encouragement and the thing, the conversations we've had over the years about, hey man, just get up and go. Some of the things that you've done on some of your posts and some of your, things that you've shared, inspiring people, man. And that stuff, all that stuff comes into a pot, man. And eventually one day it just clicks.
Appreciate that. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And it's been amazing to see this journey. Like I said, with from jump to now, where you've gone, where you going. So to that point, what's some of the next things that you got going on? What's happening? What's happening? Hold on, let's go ahead. Um,
Yeah,
pretty
man.
like
So I've had a pretty good first quarter of the year, man. And thank you to all of my clients and the people who work with me. Thank you to the people who I have worked with and haven't had the opportunity to help with anything just yet. But we're going to get those things done in this quarter to come. But I am, launching a new website this week. Living Legacy Financial Services. Will take off this week, man. And this is a part of me just getting over myself, really. This is something that I've been needing to do for a long time. And that's just kind of brand myself in a different way. I've posted and I've shared about what I do, but it's kind of really time for people to see a different side of kind of the things that I do and the things that I offer, and the things that this business can offer people, and how things that money can offer people in a different capacity. So this week I'm launching a new website. You guys look out for that. Obviously, if you're on Instagram, follow those pages. If you're on Facebook, follow those pages, and you'll get more about the website. Shout out to my beautiful wife who created a logo for the business. She's such a talented person. You know what I mean? So I appreciate it for that, man. But I'm excited about it, man, because we're gonna just kind of reach a different audience of people with what we're going to be doing. We're going to still be working with the same people, but we're taking it to the next level, man. We're trying to branch out and reach out and help more people kind of across the country, man. So I'm excited about it.
awesome, and that's coming this week.
It's coming this week, hopefully
So
tomorrow.
so we're looking for it tomorrow. But if it doesn't come tomorrow, make sure y'all follow those links down there. Make sure y'all follow all of the socials down there. And make sure that you are connecting with Courtney. Courtney is amazing, amazing man, amazing father figure, amazing man that is very strong in his faith, very strong, and and we could get into on another time. Just, I would consider you a male role model to to the males that you've worked with, because you've done some coaching as well, and so you've set examples throughout your community, and I want to hats off and applaud you for that, man. So that is something that we need more of, and you're doing it, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're out in the community, actually doing it. So, man, I appreciate that. And as cheesy as it's gonna be, we're gonna hit you with another one of those claps. But for real though, that's something that's important, and you've been doing it. So living legacy, financial. Make sure that y'all hit all those socials. Any final thoughts or final words?
No, man, this has been tremendous. I really appreciate it. This is long overdue, like you said at the very beginning. I would love to do a part 2, 3, or whatever it is how long it takes to get everything out. I want to hear more about you as well, man. We need to sit down and have a back and forth. I need to interview you and see what's going on with you, man, because it's just funny where we've come from, where we were as teenagers, to where we are right now. I don't know if much has changed with us, you know what I mean, as far as our personalities and how we carry ourselves and things like that. Definitely we've grown in business, and we've grown in family and faith and maturity. But man, it's just good to see you looking good, man. And I just want to encourage everybody, at the end of the day, the very fundamental thing about money is this, man. If you don't have a life insurance policy that matches your financial goals, right? If you dream to make $1 million, or if you're working to try to make $1 million and you don't have $1 million life insurance policy, where me and Chauncey is from, that's called hustling backwards. So it ain't got to be with me. Find yourself a life insurance agent. Don't rely on that stuff that's at your job. Keep the stuff that you got at your job. But if you have the dream and the passion and the vision of truly creating a legacy, living in that legacy, and then leaving something special for your family, talk to a financial services person, somebody in the financial services industry, and find out all the things that you can do to protect what you're doing. And that's the key thing. You need to be able to protect, right? Accumulate, and then redistribute the things that you're working so hard for. So that's it, Chauncey, man. I appreciate you.
Ooh, wait a minute. We're going to say protect, accumulate, and redistribute. Did I get that right? Protect, accumulate, and redistribute. Man,
Yeah.
look at here. All right. I'm gonna leave that alone. We're gonna leave them on that little jewel. We're gonna leave them on that jewel for the night because I want to go down that road, but we'll leave it alone. Y'all follow that man on Instagram, follow that man, follow Courtney on Facebook. I'm quite sure I'm putting him on the spot here now. I'm quite sure he's gonna have more posts talking about that stuff. And I know it's gonna be all over the website when it pops out. So
Oh yeah.
y'all
Oh yeah.
I know that. But maybe one day he'll have a little YouTube show or podcast talking about what he can with maybe just put him on the spot. But seriously though, I know in that era, in that space, it's a little bit tough in what you can and can't say. So there's some stuff you can't do out there. But I
Right.
appreciate you being on here and sharing your knowledge in business, your knowledge in the financial services realm, and just your knowledge overall, man. And I appreciate you being here.
No,
So
I appreciate it. Good stuff, Chauncey. You got good stuff going on, man. Keep it going.
thank you, definitely. So we will see y'all next Sunday. I will be here, but I'm just gonna let you know right now. Something I've been planning for a little bit, but we're gonna have a little pop up. We're gonna have a pop up coffee grind. So make sure that y'all checking the Facebook page. Make sure you got the YouTube. What they said, the YouTube bell notification ding thingy. Oh, that just gave me cringe to say it. I hate when the YouTubers say that. But I appreciate you again, Courtney. Appreciate everybody that's been here. O Green, I don't know if you're still here. Appreciate you being here, man. Always supporting, always doing his thing. And
Yes, sir.
we appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for being here. And as always, I love you. I'ma say appreciate you. I don't know how to sign out of this thing. Hold on. I'll mess around. Here we go.